27 degrees out, but let's go do a water pump on my Acura. Yeah. Well, step one initiated. Now we look at it. Bad idea. Oh, give me. Yeah. Let there be light. Okay, so the gist of it, I put a motion light up here and it wasn't a good idea. Okay, how about some light back here? That helps a little bit. Okay. So the gist of it is remove this, take off the engine mount, undo about 20 bolts down yonder, move the belt, pull the water pump back together. The other thing we have to do is pull down the big heavy box from the nice high shelf where the water pump is. But first, we're gonna crank that heater on. I already wiped the car down a little bit because I don't want to fall on the water on the floor. We'll probably pull that tire off and then we'll come back. It'll be done, just like that. Just kidding, be right back. Okay, first things first, we're gonna remove this intake cover, whatever it is, thingy-majigger. I don't know, just, it's a daily, don't care. So when we pull the power steering pulley or pump, we can put it up here. And once the hoses are disconnected, we want it to leak everywhere. So that'll give it a nice place to sit and leak. Okay. Just kidding. I did think it would give it a little more of a spot to cradle once we move it up and out of the way. And yeah. I think next we're gonna pull the reservoir. So I'm just not liking how I can't really see down there. So I got out another light, but I need it like right here, pointing down. So I'm gonna try to rig something up. Maybe a pole or string or something so I can point that light kind of more down in here so I can see what I'm doing. Hold on. Good enough for me. Better, not the greatest, but it'll work. I stuck my regular light back there to get a little side light in there, you know. So we're illuminated. Let's go. All right, got the reservoir out. It's over here on the ground. When you disconnect that, a bunch of fluid's gonna come out. Probably wanna lay a towel here so it doesn't leak everywhere. And I ended up just sticking a little bucket under there, disconnecting, oh, where is it? This here, where the hose attaches, drain it into the bucket. It made a little bit of a mess. You can see some power steering fluid down there, but a little bit of brake cleaner, some rags, will be fine. So now we are gonna probably pull that engine mount bracket so we can get to the tensioner and power steering pump, I believe. Yes. All right, let's keep turning it down. And if you didn't know, right here is your tensioner, 14. That'll take the tension off your belt. So we're gonna pull fat belt off right now. Get that out of there. I like using this long double-ended wrench I got. I got rid of that AutoZone. I'm sure you can get big pieces, but it's got 14 and 13. And it's just nice to have that extra leverage. Anyways, we're gonna tackle this bolt next, and I think there's another one just about under here, and that should be able to pull off that hole. Power steering pump. Looks like it's about like 12 maybe? So this lower bolt had just a lot of grease on it. My fingers kept slipping. So we're gonna take our super clean, dissolve grease super fast, and we're gonna toss them in this bucket and just let them soak. It might make it easier later to wipe them off and install them. Plus, it gives me an opportunity to use the super clean product that they sent me. So we're just gonna grease them in there and kind of stick a rag on top of them and just let them soak. And if we come across anything else that needs to be degreased, we'll hit it with a super clean. So the two bolts there and there were 12s. This one is a little harder to see, but you can kind of see the knuckle right there and the bolt goes through. So that's what you'll need to do to get this out of the way. And then we had already disconnected, I don't know, some sort of cable there and just zip tied it out of the way. So now we should be able to pick that up, move over. I'm gonna lay down some towels, and then, yeah, while we're at it, we'll just give this a little squirt. It's pretty nasty. Just kind of let it sit there and do its thing. Okay, so up next we're gonna pull, I believe we're gonna get the tensioner out of the way. And from the video I watched, you can't get to the bolt that's behind here because this is in the way. So maybe we'll just pull this first and get it out of the way. But before we do that, my ADD is kicking in and telling me we should pull the tire off. Let's just get the tire off. Probably not the safest. Down here, take the lug nuts off my tire. If you wanted to know. I'd give you the other angle of the dangle, but I still don't have a tripod. Anyways, what I was gonna say is, you ever just wonder, you ever ask yourself, like, why am I working on my own crap? Jeez. Well, there it is, and here we go. No going back. If I remember correctly, the motor mount holds up the motor, so you might need to do some shenanigans here. Prop the motor up or something. We'll see. Maybe we'll just get the bolts. Okay, you put a piece of wood, bottle jack under the motor. Seems to be holding it in place. 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 17. Wiggle, wiggle, that's loose. The problem was, I was trying to use the 17, using 11/16. Had to cheat the bar up a little bit, because this is too deep, and I didn't want to cut that off, but we're still going. Now, we gotta pull that other engine mount. One, two. So again, we went with the old trusty double-ended long wrench, 14 and 14, and keep your fingers and stuff, you know, out of the way,
because right now the left side of this motor is just supported by a ball ejector motor. So I won't show you that because it's sketchy, but it's working. All right, let's get this last 2 bolts out. Always double check. There's another bolt. Excuse me. Right in there, right inside the bracket. So that, don't pull those first. Pull this one in the middle, or those 2 will come out. All right, we're stuck. Apparently we're gonna have to pull this too. So out it comes. Looks like 12s. All right, so excuse me. Got ahead of myself. Just like the, I guess, lower engine support bracket, where there's that bolt that goes in the middle. I forgot there's a bolt and the tensioner here. So there's actually 1 back here, 2, 3, and they were all 12s, I believe. 12 millimeters. So we can take this last bolt out of the back. Maybe it's impossible to try to record without a tripod. Oh, come on. Okay, so that is up, out of the way. We'll clean her up a little bit. The other thing I like to do is set it by all the garbage and mix up all the bolts. So this was that one, and that is the one in the middle. Don't mix those up. I've done that before, and then I put them in wrong, and my belt kept jumping off because the pulley was. Anyways, okay, we can almost see the water pump. This apparently bracket here is thingy-majigger. Doesn't come out until you get the tensioner off, but we'll put that there. We already forgot where this bolt went. Oh, this bolt over here. Keep that there so we get that out. These 3 bolts going on yonder. Check that later, see what it looks like. Now we're gonna work on getting that bracket out of the way. And it looks like the water, oh, we can see the water pump right there. What a pain. So in hindsight, we probably don't really need to pull that bracket, but we're gonna do it anyway. Okay, tucked this hose up in there because it was leaking. We ended up pulling off the serpentine belt because it had some oil on it. We want to clean that. See the water pump now. Not 100% sure this is the problem, but it's not leaking out of the radiator because that's new. So it could be leaking into the motor. But again, I don't see anything in the radiator or the oil. So we're just gonna pull the pump out and put it in the one. It's almost got 200,000 miles on it. So yeah. Okay, it looks like we got 1, 2, 3 bolts on top, and I believe there's like 3 or 4 on the bottom, and then we can pull that water pump out. In another video I watched, there was something else the guy removed, but maybe that's only on the Type S. We'll see. Okay, so those look like they're 10. I'm not going to show you. Oh, I'm not sure. All right, Maverick, we gotta go vertical. Let's spin the pulley. There's one. And there's 2. And then there's Phillips. What? Oh, one. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And might be more, but we're gonna start with those. Alright, we got her out. So 1, 6 bolts, 3 on top, 3 on bottom. Don't really see anything wrong. Looks like a little bit of brown residue, maybe the coolant was starting to leak past the gasket. Maybe the gasket's kind of starting to fail. And it sounds a little, I don't know, a little wonky, but yeah, get ready for a battle on those bottom three. It's not fun. Ended up using a extension and a wobbly woo, and yeah, just don't strip them out. Good luck. All right, we're gonna clean it up and start reassembly. Yay. And we're just gonna ignore all the leaking oil down here. All right, new one, old one. Looks like it fit. So back to cleaning it up, and we're gonna put this uniquely shaped item whoop, back in its spot. Let's hope I didn't round any of these off too significantly bad that they will strip going in. We'll find out. And like I said before, there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna put the crappier ones that are a little more gnarred up on the top because they're easier to get some leverage on. And we'll put the old ones down below. But I think first we're gonna throw them in there, give them a little degreasing, and then we'll hit them with some brake cleaner, dry them off before we stick them back in. I don't have any Scotch-Brite, so I'm just gonna use a little bit of steel wool, quad 0, I think, and just give it a light scuff. Hit it with the brake cleaner again. Wipe it down, make sure the surface is really clean, and then we're gonna slap her back together. So that might help with my starting issue. I don't know, maybe that's restricting oil or something goofy, but we're gonna replace it because we have access. This is the VTEC one. VTEC solenoid back there. So after we get the water pump in, we're gonna yoink that out and we're gonna replace that screen too. So, all right, one more clean on that and then we're gonna put the pump in. Okay, so we got the new water pump set in place. I just put 1 bolt in the top. Now we gotta get the other 5 in. And yeah, hard part's done. So, let's see, 2 more holes there. And then, just like before, there's gonna be, whoop, 1 there, 1 there, and 1, I believe, right up there. Yeah, right up there. So, let's get these all put back in. Alrighty, new pump is in. That's the top. That's kind of the bottom view. This ended up being the best way to do those bottom bolts. Those 2 extensions. And a little wobbly woo. The 3/8 was just too big, but you do what you got to do. Don't strip those bolts. All right. Now we got to remember how we put this all back together. So it would appear this mount, then this bracket, then the tensioner, and then that motor mount. Okay, following? So, yeah. I need to invest in a power something, battery operated something. We're just gonna get these snug. I tried putting in the tensioner before everything else and that didn't work. But, you know, I could have went back and watched my own video. I also ran out of gloves. And now my hands are getting all dirty. Anywho, so we're gonna snug that up, snug this up. I got those bolts here. 1. 2. I like to try to always put in a bolt where it's supposed to be while I'm remembering, even if I gotta take it back out so I don't lose it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That goes to the pulley. And we're getting there. Yeep. All right, so anybody watching the video that cares, the bolt that goes in back there, don't put this in first. You can do it, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. Probably leave this loose so you can rotate it up a little bit to get to that bolt back there. It's there. Anywho, pulley tensioners in. We're gonna double check they're both tight. Then we got to tighten up those 3 bolts. Those, put the other engine mount, and then put the power steering pump back in there. Put the serpentine belt on. Should be about it. I drained the radiator, so remind me to fill it back up before we start it. And then we're gonna have to let it run, burp it, let it run, burp it, drive it, burp it, burp, 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 burp. And hopefully that fixes the leak. Yeah, so this is why I did that little screen, because you got to pull that back off to get to it. So you got to pull your power steering pump, your idler pulley to get to that stupid, they call it a VVT screen, variable valve timing oil pressure screen. I don't know. Whew. Anywho, okay. Check the torque. It's like a 1/4 UGA, Dugga. And then those, we're gonna maybe like half a, and we should be good. Okay, step 672.5, section 2A point B. You gotta remember to hook up this ground. That's gonna go there. Put the pulley, power steering pump pulley in. This should be my last 2 bolts. Undo the zip tie, put that cable back here, and fill it up with radiator fluid. But wait, there's more. There's a sensor that's hidden way down under this intake. Some sort of coolant temp sensor. We're gonna do that. Well, we got the car in the garage and we got the time. And we might do that VTEC oil screen. But for now, focus. Oil pump, 2 bolts. Get it in. Get the serpentine belt on. Cut zip tie. Okay. Ready, brake. Okay, so while we're in here, there's a temp sensor under here. I wanted to disconnect these and hit them with a little cleaner, but the tabs broke because these were all covered in grease. And after I broke those 2, I decided to leave those 2 alone and whatever. So cleaned it all up, and hopefully the zip ties hold. Yeah, that's why I call this car zip tie. Where's the other one? So there's 2 there. There's another one somewhere holding one on that hasn't broke yet. No, right here. Yeah. This one was the first one that broke. So great, huh? Just zip ties, zip ties, zip ties. All right, we're gonna put the intake back in, all that, and fire up, see what happens. I'm seeing a lot of moisture here, and I don't know if it's residual or what, but we're gonna pull off the front bumper and we're gonna jack it up. We're gonna let it run and see what's going on. Water pump needed to get done either way. Not that big a deal. Not out any time or money on that. It's pushing 200,000 miles. It is what it is, man. It's throwing the 1259 code again, which says it's like the VTEC solenoid. So we may pull that out, put in that new screen. And yeah, man, just keep diagnosing until we're not leaking coolant or throwing a 1259 code. Urgh. All right, I got the 3 bolts out. 1, 2, 3. Woo, there's some oil. Yeah, I wonder if that's the problem. It looks like, let me set this down here. Phone's gonna be covered in grease. Where's my dental pick? Dental pick? Where'd you go? Dental pick? Dental pick. Man, I can't keep track of anything. I got this out of a toolbox of a dead guy. Funny story. Anyways, it comes in very handy. So it looks like this is indeed cracked. Like we've got a little crack there, which is probably why I thought my valve cover was leaking. This is the culprit. So we've got a new one of those, and this filter is completely gunked up. And so we will pop that bad boy in there and see if it helps. If not, then we'll replace the solenoid. All right, we got the VTEC solenoid back in, all cleaned up. Another zip tie. Yeah, gonna put the oil filter back in, top off the oil, and then we're gonna let the car run a little bit and see if we can find out where we got some leakage going on. This has become a long day. Oh, I also just realized that I didn't put my air filter back in, so that's probably why it sounded weird when I was driving. Yep. Well, let's go for a test drive.